Welcome to the June 16th, 2025 Commissioners meeting. There are Title VI forms in the back corner by the door. If you want to fill one of those out, you can turn it in at the auditor's office. Don Lowe, will you please lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you could remain standing, please join Dennis Spear from New Point Christian Church in prayer.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you this morning thanking you for this community. We thank you for the city, Father, and what it means to all of us. And Father, we just pray that you would help the people here in these meetings, in these places, to be able to make decisions in accordance with your will. Father, you are all-knowing. You have a plan and you have a purpose for everything. Lord, we pray that you would help the people here and the things that are done to be decisions that are made to make this community better, to make it a place that's more in line with your word, your holy scriptures, Father. Help us to be the people that you need us to be always be mindful of whose we are. We love you. We thank you for Jesus. In his name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, did, Brian, since I was the ones here, at the commissioners meeting, last one, man, I wouldn't know if that was a pretty short meeting. I heard a little comment there. Brian, you have a chance to look at the meeting minutes.
I did, and I have no corrections
I didn't see anything either.
except
I'll second your motion to approve the meeting minutes. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye, and those opposed, motion carries. All right. Moving on to claims and payroll. Let's handle claims first.
I didn't see any claims. Yeah, always good.
Yep, I didn't see anything.
I'd make a motion to approve claims.
So moved.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
I,
Those opposed, motion carries. For payroll, June 6, 2025 payroll in the amount of $407,166.68.
I also reviewed, I didn't see anything that looked abnormal or alerting.
same here. I'll make a motion to accept payroll.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
I,
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, Todd Howe, Highway Department.
morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Since we've last met, we still continue to do our regular maintenance things. I think we're just about done with tree trimming. Been doing some patching, grading some gravel roads. We got some weather coming in all. Probably out grading some of those gravel roads to get washed out. Been mowing, spraying vegetation. Vegetation is a big fight right now. It's growing too quick. We can't get it back far enough. So we've been working on the CCMG roads for Chicken Seal. I went to a meeting at IAX on the 4th and 5th of this month in Indianapolis, and that was a pretty good meeting. They covered again the House bill, different things going on with legislation. So I thought it was a pretty good meeting. It's the first time I've been to that. While I was there, I was approached by Brian Dixon, the president, if I would be the Southeast District representative. I asked him, hey, do I need to get approval for that? What are you asking? So he's wanting to appoint me, which he did, the Southeast District representative. And my duties with that would be able to reach out to the Southeast District counties to have a couple meetings. Some restaurant where you get consultants to sponsor a luncheon and have some talks. So, but if anything, that was kind of, I was recommended by Kevin Russell from Harrison County. And so I asked him, I said, why do you do that? He said, well, Todd, in all the meetings you've been to, you've asked questions, you've dove in, you've tried to learn, and I think this would be good for you. So after talking with him, I did tell that Brian that I would accept that appointment. So,
Good.
That's great.
2025-1, the NDOT paperwork has been submitted and approved. I should be getting the money here pretty soon. I also did that for the town of Millhausen. They got approved. The money's on the way. The unofficial detour paperwork is sent to me. This document here I need to have you guys sign so I can send that back to NDOT so we can get our reimbursement for 700 West. And all the overtime that we had this last week was from the flood event we had in Westport. There's quite a bit of water down there, so we did a lot of road clearing and bridges and culverts and all that kind of stuff. Other than that, that's all I got.
When is the construction work happening on 46? That we're gonna need the detour for,
The detour, well, it's on, actually it's on,
or is that what's already happened?
I think it's on 421.
Okay. You were just talking about
There's two different projects. One's on 46 and the detour on 36 is They're gonna be doing something down toward Batesville.
Okay.
So the state contacted me, wanting me to know if I could use the official detour as 850 east to the highway.
Okay.
After looking at that, that's really the only alternative we got. So I agreed to let them do that. So they will film that road prior to this project. Anything that happens from State Road 46 to the overpass on 850, they will make repairs on that.
You were talking about 700 West.
700 West is part of the detour for this document.
Which is.
Yeah, which
what-
one's that?
We did, it was on State Road 3,
Okay.
okay, from Westport to Jennings County.
Okay.
Our unofficial detour was 700 West, or 1100 to 700, all the way to Jennings County. So that road, there were several different repairs that need to be taken care of, so that's what this is for.
Okay, so that's not with the Highway 46 detour.
No,
Okay, that, I guess that's where my confusion was.
Okay.
That's what we had here. Okay.
yeah. I did get something sent to me by the state on the 421.
Okay.
And it'd be from Decatur County to Ripley. There are several different DES numbers on that, culvert pipes, bridge deck replacement. And I wanted from them, for me to make an unofficial detour, I want to know where they're going to have the hard closures at, okay, for me to make that determination. So I'm still waiting on documentation from NDOT on where the hard closures are before we come up with an official detour. I did call the state because I wanted to know what actually calls for an unofficial detour, and that's if the road is going to be closed for more than 7 days, okay, then we need to have an unofficial detour. Because if it was going to be closed for a couple days, I wouldn't really worry. So, but I'm waiting on documentation from NDOT on that.
When is that part?
That's supposed to be, I think that's supposed to let 10/25 of this year.
So just later this fall.
So it'd probably be for construction next year.
Anything else, guys? Do you need us to sign that?
Yes.
So NDOT is gonna be making those repairs in 700, right?
No, we'll make the
You'll make.
repairs. Yeah. But there, this is, so this was the interlocal agreement.
While we're on highway department topics, I guess it considers roads here. Since it's a bridge, we'd gotten notice that we just needed to certify the Westport covered bridge so that it can continue to be eligible for different funding possibilities through the state. And so the state just requires the commissioners to certify what, if any, covered bridges are in the county. And so we have the certification here for the Westport covered bridge, that being our only one. And so I would just entertain a motion to go ahead and sign this.
Certified condition, right?
We're certifying that we have.
We have.
Because then it's eligible for additional funding from the state for maintenance and those kinds of things.
I would make a motion to approve.
I'd say.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And then we also just had to finish up some paperwork from the stone bids. Non-collusion agreements is what they were. I don't think we actually need any kind of motion for that, right, Chad? It's already been approved. Brian?
You betcha.
Yeah, we'd already agreed on the stone bids. We just need to sign them. There was no collusion going on.
Don't have an engineer, I wouldn't worry.
There's 2 spots.
Todd, while we're talking about the county highway and roads, just for the record, I spoke to you before, but asking about, I've got multiple people asking me about the roads, yeah, are we gonna get mine fixed? And, questions are, why did we pave Lake McCoy Road? Why did we pave Bernie? Why did we pave Letts? My road's worse than that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, money that we did, burning less, Sardinia, dead ends, like McCoy Road, Frontage Road, that money was left over from the CCM grant from 2024. We did 84 miles of Chickles Hill. There's money left over that we went after, okay? And the way Tim and I looked at it, they did not really meet all the criteria, Decatur County, all those different things that they're looking for. But all those roads were 2, phase rating 2, okay? So as far as the ones that are calling you, I need to look and see what their phase rating is over on the road, see what the average traffic count is, what kind of a collector it is, whether it's a major, minor, or local, okay? To give you some documentation why we didn't look. But if we didn't go after that money, for the most part, it wouldn't matter. So we either got awarded or we didn't. And we got awarded, and the impact for those communities, okay, was huge. But all those roads were 2. Phase rating.
Phase rating 2.
Yeah.
So I take it 2 is pretty low. It's
Yeah.
not that 1 is exceptional and 2 is
Well,
very
2
good. It's 2 is
10 is the best.
Okay.
It
So
can only
2 is
be a
best.
10 once it's been paid. After that, it drops to a 9. But yeah, that was phase rating 2 on all those roads that we went after. So we either got it or we didn't, and we got awarded it. So I thought we made a pretty big impact for the county, even though it might not be a road that people wanted paved, but it definitely needed to be addressed.
All right, thank you.
Well,
I need your signature on that one too, Brian.
I'll get you some information in regards to the road that you're asking about,
I would appreciate
what the
that.
page rating is,
Yeah.
what kind of collector it is.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Todd.
Yeah.
Happy Community Corrections.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Ed.
I am here in representing JRAC. We met on 6/9 and we have some recommendations regarding the opioid settlement funds for you guys. So we have 2 recommendations. The first one is that JRAC recommends freezing the funds that we had previously approved for Hickory Recovery Network, as they have never provided a MOU for us to actually sign, for Chad to review, you guys to sign, and us to move forward with that. And we're 6 months in and they've still never provided it to us. And we are looking at a different provider at this point. So we would recommend that you guys freeze those funds. And it was in the amount of $60,000.
Who else are you looking at going to?
Right now we are in the process of Indiana Treatment Center out of Columbus. That is who we are referring to. I know Judge Day is gonna get with Chad Smith just to make sure there's nothing legal regarding Hickory, because we don't want to be stuck paying the same amount twice, basically. But Judge Day is gonna get with Chad on that. And then once that's going, we're hopefully gonna move forward with this other provider. It would be the same. It would actually be enhanced services.
How have you guys been making up the gap since they haven't really been?
So they've been providing the physical services. What we're concerned about is they can still pull out at any moment because there's nothing keeping them here. And I know our workers are really concerned. They haven't had communication with their supervisors in over a month, which means their paperwork hasn't been signed off on in over a month. So like we need documentation. They need their supervisors to sign it to give it to us, and we can't get that. As far as like the services for the public, things like that, that has continued on and been as well as it has been. It's more admin stuff behind the scenes stuff that is falling apart. And that we're concerned that anytime they can just pull out.
Yeah, stability in that area is pretty crucial.
Yes, sir.
Any questions? No, I'd make a motion to go ahead and freeze those funds.
So, but do we owe those funds?
So we had recommended back in, I want to say it was December of 24, that as long as they got us an MOU, and they met certain criteria, that we would pay, that out of the opioid funds they would pay. However, they've not held up their end, so that's where Judge is going to get with Chad. Nothing's been signed on. There's been no dotted, hasn't signed on the dotted line. So I guess it's up in the air.
We're receiving their services.
Correct. And we were receiving their services prior as well.
There may be a point where we have to pay a portion of that.
Right.
But at this point, to get them actually locked in where they are signing, I wouldn't have an issue with freezing funds where we are right now.
Chad, do you have any initial thoughts or you just need to review further?
I have no idea what that arrangement is, so
That's fine.
I need to look into what, yeah.
I'm not opposed to paying them in the future, but we need to get them signed.
I understand the thought process, but when we freeze these funds, we still owe them probably for their services.
Yes, I would say at least for up until we would transition.
So is there an immediate concern though, if we freeze funds, they pull out, we don't have the other things in place yet? And then we're behind a ramification of owing them and still now trying to have a gap in services?
Right. I think that they can pull out at any moment as long as they have signed on that dotted line. So I think regardless that we're at a just kind of up in the air, unfortunately.
How far along is the new people? So I mean, are they ready to take hold
Yeah.
immediately if something were to happen?
Yeah. As soon as we can get it approved through you guys, and things like that, yes.
I just want to make sure they don't have like a 60-day start time or something and
Correct.
we have a giant gap in service.
Yeah, no, we would not have a gap in services. We won't get those enhanced services right away, as they're more detail oriented, more one-on-one individualized, but the services that we have would continue on. But our concern is we've asked for the MOU, they've never provided it, they've never actually just keep saying, we'll get it to you. And I know the people that we currently have employed are looking elsewhere, and I don't know that they would replace those people because we can't get communication.
I'll go back to your original motion. I will second that to freeze the funds, and try and get them to sign an MOU.
It's stability.
Right.
And
I
when you're
get-
dealing with these kinds of things, you can have stability. We had a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Anything else?
Yes, sorry, the second item, I didn't want to overwhelm, was that the JRAC voted to recommend that the sheriff's department receive $26,940 for the sheriff act out of unrestricted opioid funds. And I can give a big brief description of the chief deputies here if you guys have more specific questions, but in the grant, it states that it's a mobile app that provides direct access to life-saving resources, overdose prevention, education, rehabilitation services, and helping to mitigate long-term effects of the opioid crisis in our community. The app also provides real-time push notifications such as alerts such as Amber Alerts, Silver Alerts, severe weather, traffic, and crash information. It also includes sex offender and inmate information to our county. And this would be an app that the public can have on their phone, is my understanding.
And the sheriff's smart. You get somebody to come up and give you money before you ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
That's $25,000.
$26,940, and that's for 3 years. And it would be out of the unrestricted funds.
Very good. I don't have any questions on that.
Okay.
I'll leave that to
Okay. Do you guys?
Okay,
Thank you.
good morning. So I'm here to ask for a contract. First of all, thanks JRAC for considering us for this. Yeah, it's a sheriff's app. So we know that statistically 86% of Americans get their information, their news and stuff off of their cell phones. We were approached at the Sheriff's Association conference with this app, and we're really excited since the sheriff and I came back in office, looked for ways to streamline our Facebook page, our social media page, and our website. And we really struggled to figure out a way to get good information out there. And this app really seems like a good fix for us. In addition to the JRAC part with the opioid and addiction resources tab, where we'll be able to have our CIT team very, very involved with that and providing, real-time updates to the services that we're able to provide here in Decatur County, so we can tailor it to us specifically and change it as we go, and provide updates and information through that portion of it. It also gives us the opportunity to, the huge thing is the push notifications. So even this weekend when we had a crash, I know that some of you are monitoring that, where people are asking for a NIXL alert to be put out for that. And it just didn't hit the qualifications to do a NIXL alert. When we posted on the Facebook page, and almost immediate was like, hey, you have to push this out someplace else because not everybody's on Facebook. And it's 100% correct. And we can 100% do this with this app. So our intention, like Abby touched on, is to use that to put our sex offender information out, our warrant service information out, emergency information that doesn't necessarily meet NIXL criteria, as well as Amber alerts and silver alerts and all the rest of the stuff that we already do, just in a different platform. Our intention is to roll a huge rollout event at all of our, the public things that we have, and big QR code flags and everything, so people can download them. It'll be on the App Store for Android and Apple. And then all people have to do is just enable us to send push notifications, and we'll push them out there. So we're really excited for that. The slideshow is pretty. The first page of that has the main, the main picture of the app itself. That's really the meat and potatoes of the rest of all those slides. You're welcome to look through them, but it's basically we can add whatever we want to on there. We can put one thing that we really have been trying to push out, and Dave Henderson at the IT department is been helping us try to push out, is a way for the community to send us notifications for extra patrol that work a little bit more streamlined than what they do. So that's one thing that I know we're going to push out there. The contact information, departments, department personnel resources, and things like that. A lot of that is what's in those slides. And we're going to be, open to input on what the community wants to see, what you guys want to see on there, what we can put on there, and the developers are willing to do just about whatever we want.
Can you link this directly to the commissary fund where they can put payments through the app onto the commissary?
I don't think that we can do that, but we can do links to the system.
Our commissary fund.
Yeah.
Our commissary fund is through a third party.
Right.
And they have basically full control on how to accept the payments, but we can put links to two websites to set up visitation and commissary.
That's helpful. It's helpful. I was just curious.
Yeah. So in the second portion I gave you is the contract itself, and like Abby said, the contract is it's $26,940, and that's for 3 years. So that gives us the full development of the app itself, and then 3 years of service. JRAC is going to pay for the first 3 years, and then the sheriff's department is going to pick up the contract after that. The sheriff intends to pay for that out of commissary until that fits the criteria for that without any questions. And we think it's going to be beneficial. I think it's going to be a really good thing. And
So Eric, how do we get people to get on this, get people to sign up for this and get this app?
well, everywhere
What's the best way to?
we go, from the time that you guys approve everything we're going to have a big sign with a QR code. We're going to push out on all of our social media platforms that we currently have. And then, our intention is probably to start limiting some of our Facebook posts and really pushing the app posts. So for more information, go to sherifapp.com. And hopefully that will work. We're going to try to do our best to get a media campaign out, but I think the main thing, we're going to post it everywhere we go, and we're going to have big signs with us when we go to the fair and the National Night Out, and different events that we go to. So
Good.
we've been pretty involved with the community and hit a ton of the, the fairs, the health fair and the job fair that we put on. So I feel like we can do a pretty good job of getting it, getting it advertised, and letting people know.
Baker can help. We can bring you up.
So there we go.
Perfect. So when you're talking about things that are not Nixle qualified, can you just talk about what some of those qualifications would have to be for it to actually be pushed out through that system?
So I'm not 100% sure on Nixle, but I think it's things that affect community-wide. Where the big ones that I know don't apply to Nixle are the traffic closures. So when we have those accidents, they're going to close the road for 3 or 4 hours. I really want to, get the community notified of that. I know Nixle doesn't, we can't hit that.
I know I recently had the same question, like with some of the road closures that are going to be coming up for CCNG and those kinds of things. So those were some of the discussions that I had with them.
Yeah, and we would definitely be able to push those things out too. So it doesn't necessarily need to be sheriff department specific information. It could really be any county stuff that, the sheriff would want to put out over our thing. But things like that with road closures, those affect us as well. So I know that we would put those out.
I know you talked about weather.
Yes.
It'll be weather as well.
Yeah.
And I know we use code red for EMA.
Yeah.
So there's some redundancy there.
We can hit as many as we can. When we get those big warnings, those tornado warnings or our flash floods, we want to get that out 100 ways.
Okay.
So it's just another tool for us to be able to continue to push out. We're not trying to replace anything. We're trying to augment and add some more.
Well, I think any way to get out emergency is good.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Perfect. All right.
The only other issue with that, the sheriff wanted me to make sure that you were aware of, is that his name is listed as a signee of that
I
contract.
saw that.
So we want to make sure that you guys approve that.
Yeah. All right. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve. Starting with the app, I looked it over. It's great.
I'll say that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Yeah,
Do you want to copy this with our signatures on there?
that'd be great. Yeah.
Morning, Doug.
Morning.
Doug Westerfeld with the APC.
I've got 4 properties that I need your signatures for a reason. Before I do that, I do want to make an announcement. There was letters that went out concerning 2 properties that we were going to present to the commissioners today. The last week, through some discussions, we decided not to bring those to the commissioners' attention today. So if those property owners happen to be here, I'm just kind of notifying them that that's not going to occur today. And those 2 properties, I think both of them want to say that's.
Was there why or?
We are really close to getting the ordinance ironed out. So it was the advisement of Dairy Plains attorney that we hold off bringing any more until we get that in place. So that was the reason.
And do you know off the top of your head who those?
I believe one was Fields and the other one was Arnett. So I've got, like I said, 4 properties that need to be rezoned. So come up, get your signatures.
All right.
First one is Lester Gurley rezoning 2.99 acres for 2 lots from A1. Yeah, 2 lots. They were 10.88.
Looks like at the APC meeting on May 7, 2025. All members present voted in favor.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries.
The second one is Alex and Etta, rezoning 2.99 acres, A1 to H.
This is to build a home.
Yeah.
It looks like everybody present at the May 7th APC meeting voted in favor. Anybody have any comment on this petition? It's ordinance 2025-11.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Charles Jeff Robbins, rezoning 2.99 acres from A1 to H2. Develop home.
It's like all members present at the APC on May 7th, 2025 voted in favor. This is 2025-10. This one's located in Sand Creek.
It's right on the edge of Westport.
Anybody have any discussion or comments on this petition?
I make a motion to accept.
All right, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
The fourth one is the Decatur County Commissioners rezoning 1.68 acres from A1.
This is out at the fairgrounds. This was to rezone the portion of the community building or the portion of the fairgrounds where the community building is going to sit. So those present that voted, all voted in favor. Brad Schutte abstained since he was doing work on the project. Everyone else present voted in favor. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Anything else for you, Doug?
I have nothing else.
All right.
How is Tim doing?
Tim's doing good.
Anything going on there? Any questions? Any?
No, not right now. I will give an update on the Adams Township Fire Department because it's been a topic. He has received the plans, the revised plans from the architect to match the work that is being done. He has been in contact with the contractor to make sure that those items, the other items that needed to be done, like at the fire station, like the doors, they have to have those concrete holes, stuff like that, make sure those are being installed. So yeah, that looks like it's moving forward, but everything else is going well.
And getting the septic out back, that was an issue as well.
Yeah, yeah, and we have told, I believe Westport is the one that's installing it, that they can move forward with installing that.
All right. Anything else, Doug?
That's it.
All right. We had a comprehensive plan scoring committee meeting last week. We had called for proposals from different companies. We had received 2 separate proposals from different companies to do the comprehensive plan. And so we scored those, and then we are doing interviews of those 2 companies tomorrow afternoon. And once we score and select after the interviews who we're going to go forward with, then we'll do the public engagement portions. It looks like through both of the proposals, they both are very strong.
Yeah.
So I think we have a couple of very good companies to work with either direction.
Good. It's good moving forward. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. I have a couple of contracts for the fairgrounds. Cody Galt had gotten some bids for us. A bid for Ellis tents. These are for different tents where we have to put them in the goat barn and other areas down at the track. So there's a number of different tents that we get every year for the fairgrounds, for the fair. It's $6,189 for the tents, and we have the contract here. So I would entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
A second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And then I have another one for the fair for clear sound for just some other services for the audio going on the fair. That amount is $2,036.40.
Maintenance or?
Yeah, so they have to hook things up and make sure it's all working for the headquarters building, the track pagoda, making sure that all the wireless is working there as well. And then I think they also handle down at the horse arena to make sure that that's up and running. I know we had to have them, I think, do some work down there last year. Pretty standard. Yep. Yeah, both of these are things that we've done both years that I've been involved there.
I make a motion to accept that clear sound contract. I'll second.
All right, those all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Abby, if you can just scan those, email them to me so I can get them off to Toby. Thank you. All right, up next, we have the HVAC for the courthouse. I know that we had some discussions at the last meeting about how we were going to proceed. We had different bids for work to be done out here from Piney and then also from Turnkey. So I'll open it up to discussion for you guys.
Well, initially, I think that Piney worked on the strainers,
Started to.
the auditor's office, and came into some issues with some valves that weren't working. And, gave us a bid to replace valves. So as they were working on that, not all strainers were replaced. Is that correct?
Yeah, so for the general public, I know it is a lot of money, but the strainers that it collect, they're starting to deteriorate, and it's causing the units to physically not cool. So it's, the auditor's office was like almost 80 degrees when it was 70 degrees out. So I mean, it's very, very warm. So they were able to get that one replaced, which I believe you guys are now better. Okay, so, but when they went to go replace the treasurer's office, the valves were not able to shut off. They're just so old, their seas, they're not regularly turned, so they're no longer able to replace any of the rest of the baskets. So it's still warm, I believe, in the door office. Still warm.
Until you open the doors and then the cool air from the hallways.
So when you walk in the hallway here, it's extremely cold. It's extremely cold because we're trying to offset the hot rooms and move fans and take the cold air from parts of the courthouse, put it to where it's warm because we can't fix the part. So we got a quote back from Turnkey quote back from Piney, and it seemed to be very expensive. So we thought that we needed to look into other options, even though Piney normally does our maintenance. And so we got a quote from Turnkey, and it was significantly cheap. So I believe so I'm looking at the original one was 18,000 from Piney. The one that we got back from Turnkey is doing actually more work. It's replacing all the valves, but it's also doing 10 strainers. They're going to replace the entire system while they're here, so that it's all done at once. And it was $10,779. So $8,000 cheaper, and they're doing more work. So.
But we did still have to pay Piney for their initial work on those initial strainers in the auditor's office.
It's kind of twofold, right? So the one that's in here, Piney's already replaced one of these. So the price will actually come down on Turnkey because they don't have to do one.
Okay.
But yes, we still have to pay them for the original work they did, which was not that much. They were able to shut that valve off and replace the strainer. It's just the rest of the system that has issues.
So when we finish this out, the Turnkey will do the rest of the strainers and replace the valves.
Replace all the valves. They have to drain the entire system. So the entire chilled water system, they have to take all the glycol and water out, put them into totes in the basement. Once all the lines are empty and blown out, they can go through and cut the valves out, put new valves in. They're also going to add some extra valves that allow us to do sectoring in the courthouse, but so that we can shut one side off and do maintenance instead of have
The whole system.
the whole system. So they're going to make those changes. Like I said, they have to drain the complete system, make sure that all the glycol is good, test it, replace all the valves, replace all the strainers, and then pump the glycol back in charge.
Okay, and that's that 10,779.
That's the 10,779.
Well, I mean, that's an $8,000 savings. It makes sense for Turnkey.
And when we called them, they were showing on the spot 9 a.m. the next day. So, I mean, and not that we haven't had great service from Piney too. They're also here driving a lot of it. They seem really educated and eager to do it. So I would make a motion to move forward with Turnkey to replace the strainers and valves.
For the $10,779.
Yes.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, motion carries there. Then we also had several other bids for the heating, water expansion, that water tank. And then we also had looks like another one for chiller, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was that part of that 10,779 bid? Shut up. That's what chilled
The
system.
expansion tank system, that I think
That's separate.
That's a separate.
that's the separate one.
Right, the expansion tank.
The other one, they bid it upon based on the original work, but since Piney's already done it.
So do we need to, do you guys want to discuss the water,
It was under
hot water tank?
it was under recommendation from Charlie that the expansion tank, both Piney and Turnkey say that the expansion tank needs to be replaced, especially if you have the system down right now. It already needs to be replaced, and it makes sense to do it.
While the system's down.
So Charlie recommended that we please replace the expansion tank now so that we're not taking the system.
So it looks like Piney's bid is $7,840. And Turnkey is $6,287.
Another 15.
I'll make a motion to have turnkey replace that as well while the system is down.
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. All right, up next on the agenda is the YMCA pay application number 5. Just for general information, the YMCA had applied for an Okra grant, the Office of County of Rural Affairs, state of Indiana. They had received, I think it was over $500,000 to replace their roof or a portion of their roof, the YMCA. And as part of the agreement, the county had to agree to be the pass-through for the funds. No county dollars are actually going to this project, but when a pay application is submitted, it's submitted to us, and then the money flows through the county from the state to the YMCA. And so this is pay application number 5. This current payment is for $446,525.94. It looks like the only remaining balance is about $130,100. So that project is almost complete.
All right, I'll make a motion to pay that payment for the YMCA.
Right. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. My apologies, I looked at the wrong line. This payment is $226,893.
I say that, when you add those two together, that's over $500,000.
Yeah, the wheels were turning, right?
It was like, okay, maybe you know what you're talking about. This is what I'm paying.
No, we aren't paying. We approve the payout. All right, up next, we have the opening of bids for the portlets during the fair. They were due last Friday by noon. The big call was for 20 separate portlets at the fairgrounds to be placed on site on July 5th, and they would have to remain in place and can't be removed until July 19, 2025. They had to be cleaned every day. Looks like we have one bid. Like the bid came in from Randy and Jody Coors with Portland Sanitation. They have their state IDEM certification. Their permit is valid. Looks like it is in effect until February 1st of 2028. We have a certificate of insurance here. And it looks like the amount is $3,500.
Oh, we gotta have. That's one bid we have. I make a motion to accept the bid from Portland Sanitation.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, up next we have the overtime policy. We've discussed prior commissioners meetings. We discussed whether or not we needed to amend the county's handbook to delineate better are to do a better job at delineating who is eligible for overtime. And so we have a draft copy here in front of us today. Do you guys have any comments?
I do. It's mentioned that the sheriff's department, highway department divisions, which could meet the exceptions in the event of emergency service, long distance transport, or specialized training. I would just ask that dispatch is added to that as well. They're just as much part of that emergency timing. Open not to get anybody else to believe. But otherwise, I don't know if you're being.
No, I that was the only part in there that I think needs.
I know Leanne was talking about, working on your SOPs and your guidelines for your department. I know that you talked about this overtime. I think again that they need this as well to make sure that in that emergency type situation, they have the coverage and they need that for their overtime. So I would agree with Gabe to, as they're an exception to this.
Does that need to be broad in scope? Is that like Decatur County?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm looking through you. We need to say what is the Decatur County from that, right?
Yeah, we can. And we can. I think you word it like that. That's broad enough. Okay. Yeah. So I think if we just put Decatur County Communications, that would be fine, Patty. All right, we can bring that one back at the next commissioners meeting. Yeah. So we can have it on the agenda. Up next then is another potential change to the policy handbook for reimbursement of cell phones. So there were a number of different topics that have come up with the cell phones over the last couple of years. For me, and I know that Brian gave you guys also had those same discussions that you've been on this year. If we're paying cell phones, are we paying cell phone bills, and like for the actual portion where you're talking on your phone, and then also data, and then also who is eligible for cell phone reimbursement or to have their cell phones paid by the county. Any discussion going?
No, I'm good with the.
I think the only discussion or question that I would have is that we have an amendment here to this policy, and I think that we have to make sure that the department heads for each one of the departments delineate who is actually eligible. Because I know it seems to me, and Patty, correct me if I'm wrong, there's several people in different departments that are reimbursed for their cell phones that probably don't need to be reimbursed for their cell phones. They're not in emergency services. They're not on call. They are not required to.
24/7.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that I would say is we need to make sure that I like what we have here, but just as long as the department heads, make sure that those individuals, I feel like currently we're paying individuals for their cell phone policies that don't need to be paid for.
Yeah, I mean, the meat and potatoes is I'll just read it. It says department heads can reimburse employees whose position requires that they be reached after hours. Those employees who have an office with a phone are not eligible for reimbursement unless they are in an emergency service role or have been approved by the commissioner. This reimbursement for using your personal cell phone is a total of $40 per month. You cannot receive more than one subsidy if you have dual roles within the county. It makes it pretty openly and clear. I think.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't have an issue with the way it's worded.
I like that. You just have to do the department heads have to do a good job of
Making sure they.
Get in the claims though.
Okay.
After this, they'll just.
Find a way to formulate a process for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm good with that. Just making sure that we do a good job of who is not.
If we can adopt this.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to approve the new use of cellular mobile phones and pagers.
I'll say.
We might.
Thank you.
And they say all things come back around, maybe who knows?
I'll say.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Gary Hash, EMA. Do you have anything for us? I know, but it was an EMA update, so I was gonna see if Gary had anything for us.
I am turning the first draw on the multi-mitigation hazard grant last week. So hopefully we're getting somebody back on that. I don't know how long it takes. But I did get a email back saying I did it correctly. So that was exciting.
It's always reassuring, isn't it?
So, right now, that's really all. And then the meeting on the 24th.
I appreciate you stepping up in the interim role and doing all of that work. I know it's a lot. I know you've had your hands full, so thank you.
Yes.
So,
All right, Brian, you want to take the update portion of that?
Yes, on Monday, a week ago, we did interviews for the new EMA director. We had 16 applications that people applied. Our group, the advisory board, kind of narrowed that down to 6 applicants to interview. 5 interviewed, 1 bowed out right towards the end. So we interviewed 5 good interviews, good applicants. When we were finished, we came down to 2 applicants that we really liked. And we had some discussion back and forth. And we have 1 applicant, and he was the applicant number 1. We went 1 through 5, and he was the first interview. We have him as our choice, and we want to offer him the position.
Okay.
The actual amount as far as salary goes, there was discussion as far as salary, and currently the previous EMA director, Brad, was making $53,000, and this actually 53, I think 650 was his amount that was budgeted for 2025, and we were asking for 55,000 for the new EMA director. And I'm going to go in front of the county council tomorrow and make that ask for that salary. But we want to offer this individual job pending the salary.
Yeah, from what I've heard, there are a lot of folks that support and that think very highly of him.
Yes, yes. We did some. I did some calls and did some definitely reviewing this person and very well spoken. So I think we got the right out.
Thank you to you and the board for doing that. Good to see that many applicants too.
Yeah. So that's what we have. Tomorrow we'll find out in the council. Then we'll move forward in offering him in that position.
Very good. I guess just make it official. I'll make the motion that we go ahead and offer the job to him. And then discussions need to happen after that as far as salary. We can take those up further, and you can have those discussions with the council as well. So I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, up next is a discussion about the water fountains here in the courthouse. I know it's something that I talked about last year as well. So Brian, why don't you give us a little read in on what you're thinking here?
I went to all the different departments at the beginning of the year when I became commissioner, and had some discussions. And one of the things that seemed to be brought up in all the different departments was the thought of water refill station at the water fountains. The water fountain currently upstairs does not work. So we talked about replacing that, and in the discussion, it'd be nice to have a way to fill your water bottles. So a lot of the people here have water bottles they'd like to fill. So I did some research, did some cost analysis. Charlie, our new maintenance man, said he can replace those water fountains. He can do the work. The water fountain bottle refill stations, they're chilled and filtered, run about $1,550 a piece. So two of those would be just a little over $3,000 to replace. I know that the auditor's office has a bottled water system from
Yeah, like
Moffitt's. The
colleted
5 gallon,
water
yeah,
tanks.
yeah. And I think there's another office upstairs, I believe, that does that as well. So once we get this taken, put in effect, we can remove those. And they don't have to have that service of bottled water. They can go to the water fountain and get it. And it's chilled and filtered.
And these water fountains, they aren't like your grade school water fountains
No.
where you just have to bend over. They're like the ones at like airport or something where you can go up and actually fill the bottle.
It's a refill station, but it is a refill station water fountain combination. So you can still go up and get a drink if you'd like, but it also has fill your water pump.
I think they also have a counter on there for the
It does.
number of
It
bottles.
Bottle saved.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I'm sure we're renting the water stations too right now.
we are.
So there is a safety.
Yes.
There will be overtime.
Well, I know when the new highway was built, they put one in there, and I think we're up to 900 bottles of water we've saved. So, a lot of guys used out there, I use it on a daily basis, so I think it's good.
Make a motion to move forward.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Will be great. 2 new water fountain refill stations.
We'll get them going.
Very good. You guys have anything else that's not on the agenda? Good, before I start open calling.
We got a letter from Karen Meeker and Wendy Coughlin, thanking the Decatur County Sheriff's Department and the Highway Department for all the work for the SDS 5K that they did. While it wasn't a very big event, they hope it to grow and they appreciate the support, so it went very smoothly. So thank you guys.
Thank you for that, Gabe. Don?
Yeah, thank you. We had a very successful women in business conference, saw over 230 people. Last Thursday, we did have a lot of outside of Decatur County participants, so that was great to see becoming more of a regional draw. We have Leaders and Loggers tomorrow night from 4 to 6 p.m. at the TAP, and that featured topic speaker will be the Tree City Fall Festival. So anticipate for that to be a good crowd. A lot of questions. We get a lot of calls in our office about the festival, how to apply to be in the parade, so on and so forth. So if anybody has any questions or wants to hear more about the logistics of Tree City Fall Festival, that'll be tomorrow night. That is free and open to the public. And other than that, we're just moving forward. Golf outing, 40th annual golf outing is August 1st. So looking forward to continuing with those plans.
Very good. Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Brian?
In our EDC annual meeting, which is public, it's July 10th, 3rd. City Hall, we're going to have Matt Geller from AIM speak on SB1 and the changes at the state level and how that's going to affect the community. How we can help navigate that.
What time is that, Brian?
What's that?
What time?
11:30.
11:30.
11:31. Too much. So, we'll be saying the May was pretty busy for us with CM1s being submitted for tax abatements and such. We're getting much better cooperation between the city and county. I appreciate particularly the auditors, the assessor's office, all the cooperation to get there and make sure that everybody's in on time and fulfilling their agreement in tax payment incentives or agreement between the business and the county and or the city. So we both want to hold each other accountable, and so we don't do that. The big business announcement is Heidelberg from Germany, Austria. Bought 19 acres over off Liberty Circle. They are a plastic mold company. They make the molds for injection molding. About 27 jobs, average 30 an hour, skilled labor, and they full investments about $7.2, $7.3 million. So that's good. And then Ready, we have a function in Terre Haute, Ready with the shop, so we're a little bit more focused on housing and whatnot. But we continue to get pre-commitment letters coming in. We're ready to, which is very welcome, to get those projects moving along. We continue to kind of press those as possible.
Thank you, Brian. Anyone else?
Oh, yeah, Sheriff's Department wants to thank again to the commissioners for the continued support of closing the road down for our EVO training. We don't have the full number of training hours, agencies that were out there, but we had, I know there were at least 10 different agencies that came and utilized that track all over from the county and surrounding counties. So once we get the full number of training hours and individuals that return, we'll push that out to you guys. But it was a good success. We do more than just driving training out there. We were able to do our traffic stop safety stuff and some physical tactics and some firearms training. We can incorporate those into full scenario based stuff. So we appreciate your guys' support of that every year.
I know I went out and rode with Rocket Fellow Force one night. One, it was fun, but also it gives you a whole new perspective about the speeds and the decision making that our officers have to be able to do on a split-second basis when they're running at high speeds. And to see how he can maneuver a full-size truck gave me a whole new appreciation of what mine's capable of.
I don't know if you get the same openness to do that.
I don't think they no. So no, it was very informative. It was a good training to go and see and to ride along with Rob. So it was great. Leanne, you have anything from communications?
I just said it sounds like some extra patrol on 421. No, we're doing well.
Good. All right. Anyone else? No, very good. All right. I would. Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, I had called a few weeks back about the closure of the Northwestern Road, also known as 645 North in Clarksburg. With it already being a dead road, a dead end sign has already been placed there and nobody uses it. The county does not take care of it in any possible way, maintenance wise. And with it only being about 200 feet of actual pavement versus the well over 2,500 feet of actual road that you guys consider it, considering the 1,800 documents, the plateau. With it being mostly dirt and gravel, it's severely covered up by grass. As my family, the Woods and Myers has mowed over it and covered it in grass. I would like you guys to reconsider the option of possibly closing the road for good, due to the fact that we have family members that are hard of hearing, do not have hearing at all, and those that are also disabled. We have veterans and we also have people that just cannot get by very well. And we take the risk with the road being open that people go up and down it with four-wheelers, dirt bikes, and everything else. We just don't want to see anybody hurt that goes on it.
What was that road again, sir?
Northwestern Road, out there in Clarksburg.
Is it 645?
645?
Yes, it is.
North? So if you were to take that to the east, it goes over there to the fire station?
Yes, it does. We're not asking that we close any part of the east road. We are asking that you close the north side of the road. There's already a dead end sign in place. We're just trying to prevent anybody from getting hurt.
So just the little portion west of 700?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Todd, are you familiar with that road?
Road, the one that goes out there where Bowling used to be?
It divides right through Boland's property. My parents bought up the Boland property about 5 years ago. And, what we're looking at, where my father and my mother are both disabled. My wife is hard of hearing, just like my grandfather is hard of hearing. And my dad is eventually going to go blind. He's getting there. His vision's not the best. And we're just trying to prevent accidents from happening and from our property being damaged.
Where's the difference?
So if you were to look at, you're standing in front of the church, right next to Bolin property, there's a side road that connects from 640 north to 645. The dead end sign is roughly about 10 feet to the north side of that connecting road.
Did you have a comment? Back in 2018, Dave Myers had a meeting with Mark Moore and Raleigh, commissioner at the time. At that time, he was pretty certain it would shut down at a certain point. My wife and I are getting ready to purchase the property from Dave Myers. I just would have a question if the county's still paying taxes on that road. Are you familiar with it at all?
Actually, Wayne did call me about driving, he's thinking about. We bought some property from Myers, and was getting ready to, or it's in process, and was looking to get a driveway permit. That's when it was issued. It looks like that was done in ordinance to close that section of the road whenever. So I wouldn't be opposed to county closing that off.
It's not something we can do today. We'll have to look into it. I appreciate you bringing it up. So as I'm looking here, I'm clicking through Beacon. I want to make sure there are any landlocked landowners or anything like that. So we just need to do a little bit more work on it. I know that we've done something like this over in Milford, I think it was last year, year before, something like that. There were like some alleyways that folks had been maintaining and all of that a couple years ago. So we've done something like this similarly here in the last couple of years. But I appreciate you guys bringing it up. We just need to look into it a little bit more, just so that we can fully understand the situation so we don't make a mistake. So,
Sir, what is your name?
I am the son of Michael and Samantha Woods. My name is Donald Woods.
Okay, I was just looking at Beacon, as Jeremy was talking about. There's a Cam Marshall. The irrevocable trust, is that?
I am unsure of that name. The Bolin property is owned by, of course, my parents. There is an abandoned house that has been sitting there for roughly about 10 years or so, non-inhabited. I cannot remember the name of it, but the previous owner who just recently passed away, her name was Myrtle Dywart. And then, of course, David Myers, which is on the other side of property, which is a quarter of a mile down the road.
can both of you guys come up here real quick? I just want to get your opinion on something. So if you look here at Beacon, you're on just the western side of this parcel that has the building on it. Right here, direction. It's basically right at that drive. Right here.
So right here is actually where the pavement stops and it turns into nothing but dirt. But at this point, it's grass.
Okay.
So if it right here, this is where the closure were.
Yeah, we could put it right there, but it's gonna roughly be right after this building, because that's where the actual pavement stops. Now, there are actual barricades that Myers has put up down the way, little after that house, that Dywart house
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's perfectly acceptable. He was for his property.
He was under the impression that the road was shut down back then like that. Well, what? These two. Well,
You had an easement then coming up, or? Okay. Okay. Yeah, this one, all right, so we'll have to figure this out, because there's several different landowners here.
which she,
Because I mean, you're looking at how we would have to split that down the middle of the road as far as property lines and those kinds of things, so we'll have to do some discussion with our attorney and with the highway department.
I had basically drove down there, but I thought
Yeah,
that was thinking. That we sort of know.
Yep. Did we have surveys when we did it at Milford, or did we just?
So the Milford one was probably not quite right. This is going to be more like the dump. And I mean, there's a formal process that has to be gone through. And you have to be able to specifically describe the property. I don't know that you have to have someone do survey done. But yeah, I mean, there's a process. So we're gonna have to talk through this, make sure, because it requires public hearing and notice to adjoining landowners at the end, an ordinance. So he was indicating they thought it was done a long time ago. The ordinance would exist as well. I guess it's more of an informal approval and nothing is actually ever done.
At the end of the meeting, can both of you guys come up and just give me your phone numbers?
Jeremy, if I could.
Yeah.
So this was brought to the auditor's attention, and then there was a tech review meeting concerning this. So, Tim Wardman, Andy Sholey, myself, Assessor's Office and Auditor's Office was at that meeting. And the tech reviews, they, especially the ones that have been part of that group before, the county's never really closed roads, so their recommendation was to not close it. But then when I talked to Mr. Woods, I was like, your next step is to take it in front of you. And there wasn't anything specific, it was just the county typically doesn't close roads. I just wanted to make that part of the record.
If you guys can just leave your phone numbers, we'll look at it and we can be in contact.
And also Andy's doing a lot of surveying out there right now. So for Mr. Myers, so I know there's some issues with how a lot of that's platted out. So it probably wouldn't hurt to get him involved in those discussions too.
Very good. Yeah, we'll have to look into it and then we'll get back to you guys. Well, anyone else? Very good. I would entertain a motion to recess.
Make that motion. I said.
We are recessed.